Hello, this meeting is now called to order at 5:34 p.m. Madam Secretary, can you please call roll?
Chairperson David Heredia,
Present.
Vice Chairperson Raul Velasco.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Victor Barbosa.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Carlos Jose Barrera
Present.
and Commissioner Jason Gavilanes.
Present.
Thank you.
And Madam Secretary, can you lead us in the invocation, please?
Veronica, if you'd like, I can conduct invocation.
Crystal?
Yes, would you like me to conduct invocation?
Please, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
no, that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, please bow your heads with me in prayer. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we are gathered together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Desire to find ways to excel in our work. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask that we would challenge each other to reach higher and farther to be the best we can be. We ask this in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
Commissioner Velasco, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And Madam Secretary, was the agenda posted according to state law?
It was posted according to law. Yes.
Okay, and this is the time given to the public to speak on agenda and non-agenda items. Staff, are there any comments received?
No comments received.
Okay, I need a motion from the commission or a commissioner on approving the minutes of the meeting from August 3rd, 2021.
I first the motion.
And a second.
Oh, second.
Madam Secretary, can you please take roll call vote?
Yes. Chairperson Heredia,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Velasco,
Yes.
Commissioner Barbosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrera,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gavilanes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the first item on the agenda. Ms. Chavez, will you please give the report?
Sure. Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. Before you is a traffic safety analysis, which is a request for a four-way stop sign at Gallant Street at Gephardt Avenue. And I will ask our traffic engineer, Dennis Barnes, to provide the technical report and findings. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. My mic was muted here. On page 2 of the report, I discussed the existing conditions at the intersection. Figures 2 and 3 are pictures that I took while doing my field review of the locations. They give you an overview of what it's like when you approach the intersection looking east, and then when you're stopped at the existing stop sign and looking to the northwest, and then on the next page I show pictures looking to the southwest. And then looking from a northbound view, looking southwest, you can get a view in figure number 5 as to what the approach is from the other direction. To investigate the need for all-way stop, there are certain criteria that's published in the California Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, referred to the MUTCD. I've listed 3 of those criteria. One is the collisions, 5 or more accidents in a 12-month period. Traffic volumes, and this is kind of an important one. Vehicular volumes entering from the major street approaches, that's both directions, averaging at least 300 vehicles per hour for each of any 8 hours during the day. Also from the minor street, you have to have at least 200 vehicles, and that could be vehicles, pedestrians, what have you, for the same 8 hours. And then there's sight distance. Another criteria, so the first one I evaluated was the collision warrant. And I reviewed the SWITR's data for a 3-year period, starting in January 18 through the December 31st of 2020. There were no accidents at the intersection in question, so it did not meet that criteria. On page 5 of the report, I provided what we call a collision diagram. Now they've changed the name to a crash diagram, but it shows where Gallant Street is, and it shows the above street at Clara Street. There are accidents there, but not at the subject location where the all-way stop is requested. The next part of the report talks about the traffic volumes, and I make the comment is that it's almost impossible to find an intersection in a residential neighborhood where you can average 300 vehicles per hour in any of 8 hours during the day. You have to have substantial roadways of more of the nature of 2 arterials crossing to reach numbers of that magnitude. So it does not meet the traffic volume warrant. The next important warrant that I evaluated was the sight distance warrant. I provided the table as shown on page 6 of your reports. It shows that based on if it's posted speed of 25, that you need 155 feet of sight distance to come to a safe stop. I also talk about or discuss in the report, field observation indicated as such that there were vehicles parked up near the corner in both the northwest and southwest corners of the intersection. Observation is that if red curb were to be installed in the northwest and the southwest corners, that would improve the sight distance. Earlier in the figure, going back to figure 5, I showed the potential locations for that red curb. Another important consideration when you're looking at an all-way stop is that if sight distance is a contributing factor at that location or intersection, then there should be accidents that will show up in the collision portion or evaluation. And as mentioned earlier, there was no collisions at all at this intersection. So the conclusion is it does not meet the sight distance warrant. However, going on to page 7 of your report, I did plot that sight distance triangle, which is based on 25 miles an hour approach speed, 155 feet of sight distance. And you can see the yellow line shown in figure 7. And that's from a point from if we extend the curb lines on Gallant 15 feet back, and we look to the left, which is the critical distance, that yellow triangle gives you an idea of I should be able to see if I'm stopped, or if I'm going in the southbound direction, I should be able to see if that vehicle leaves Gallant, starts to pull out, and I should be able to come to a stop. a stop sign is not recommended because it doesn't meet any of the warrants, but my conclusion and finding were that if we were to add 40 feet of red curb in the southwest, northwest, and then in the southwest 20 feet of red curb, I would enhance the visibility of that intersection, improve safety, but not install a stop sign. And in terms of my recommendation on page 7, I concluded it was determined that an all-way stop not warranted, but my recommendation and requesting that the Traffic and Safety Commission by motion approve the installation of 40 feet of red curb in the northwest corner and 20 feet of red curb in the southwest corner of the intersection of Gallant at Gephardt, as shown in figure 5. That would improve visibility and safety at the intersection. The measurements are from what we call the ECR, which is the end of the curb return, or the BCR, which is referred to as the beginning of the curb return. Those are joints out in the field that staff or others can physically mark the locations or the measurement of that red curb. And with that, I would now open it up for discussion for any questions from the commission members that you may have relative to the study or the analysis that I performed.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Commissioner, sorry, I was just gonna add for information, the 40 feet of red curb on the northwest corner would be equivalent to about 2 parking spaces, and the 20 feet on the south of the intersection would be about 1 parking space. That was it. Thank you, Dennis.
Yes, thank you.
That was my question about how many parking spaces would we be losing if we were to add the red curb?
As Gracel mentioned, approximately 2 spaces with the 40 feet. And again, I use the average space of about 20 feet represents an average car length. So 40 feet would be equivalent to 2 spaces, and the 20 feet in the other corner would be 1 space. But my conclusion was that it was a more viable option to install red curb rather than stop the major street traffic for just when it did not meet the criteria. You stop all those cars, you've decreased air pollution and made it worse, and there's no need to really stop the other vehicles because there are no accidents occurring at the present time. And that's basically was my conclusion. We have other questions, perhaps?
I have one question. The intersections north and south of this intersection, do they have four-way stops?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The intersections north and south of this intersection, are they four-way stops?
Let's see.
I believe they are.
I'm trying to also check on Google Earth to let me see what I find here, Dennis.
Yeah, I'm not, my microphone here, I'm not picking up.
So north would be, let's see if I'm looking at this right, Clara Street and Gephardt, correct?
There's a four-way on Clara and Gephardt.
Yeah, there's a,
and then there's
and
another
there is,
Quinn and Gephardt.
which is north.
I think it would be Gotham and Gephardt.
If you look in figure 6, the collision diagram, you can see Clara Street is to the north. That's where some accidents are occurring at the present time.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions?
No further comments.
I was finally able to get up Gotham and Gephardt. And Gotham and Gephardt, which is south of that location, is a four-way stop sign.
Okay, I need a motion from the commission.
First the motion.
And the second?
I'll go ahead and second.
Madam Secretary, can you take roll call vote?
Quick question, what are we motioning on, I'm sorry?
The staff's recommendation to put red curb.
I personally think it's better to add a four-way stop sign. Just for it to be more safe, because sometimes what I've noticed throughout the city is that residents or visitors to our city, they don't even care for red curb anymore. Sometimes they're parking on red curb, whether it's on main streets or whether it's on small streets. And I don't think we are already having issues because there's a lot of vehicles and no parking for them, and then losing whether it's 2 or 3 more parking spaces. That's going to be brutal for our residents.
I think this issue has been brought up multiple times during this commission, where there has to be a balance between our safety and accommodation for parking. This mainly is entailed to last month's meeting, where we did get rid of a few parking spaces just from issues that Victor brought up. But we approved it because at the end of the day, that's to improve safety. And the way, and in Dennis's report, it's obvious that a car traveling down Gephardt can't really see a car exiting Gallen Street, crossing Gallen Street into Gephardt at a safety distance at the moment. So I think we should go ahead and go with Dennis' recommendations on adding the red curbs to improve visibility on that side. In addition, based on Dennis' report, none of the warrants were met to accommodate a stop sign all around. But I think the focus should be on safety at the moment rather than parking spaces. Though it is an issue, but I think at the end of the day, it's better to prevent collisions and increase safety.
Okay, Madam Secretary, can you take roll call vote on staff's recommendation?
Yes, first, Chairperson Heredia,
Yes.
Vice Chair Velasco,
Yes.
Commissioner Barbosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrera,
Yes.
Commissioner Gavilanes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the next agenda item. Ms. Chavez, will you please give the report?
Good evening again, Chair and members of the Commission. The request before you is for traffic safety analysis, which included evaluation of a request for a three-way stop sign at the intersection of Jabonilla Road and Liddell Street. And I will also defer to Engineer Barnes to provide the technical report, but in summary, this is similar request to the prior one, where ultimately the finding recommendation is made for the addition of red curb for two parking spaces on one side of the intersection and one on the other side for a total of 3 parking space restrictions for red curb. Thank you, Dennis. Please proceed.
Thank you. As mentioned, is traffic analysis for a three-way, what we refer to as an all-way stop. Again, like the prior report, I've given you an aerial view of the location in figures 1. Figures 2 and 3 give you pictures of the existing conditions that I've taken while reviewing the locations in the field. Figure 3 gives you a good, from a street view, looking when you're parked there at that stop sign, looking to the left to pull out, you can see that you're blocked, your vision is blocked. Figure 4, within the report to the right, there's nothing parked in that one space to the immediate on the southwest. However, if one were parked there, your vision would also be blocked. Figure 5 is looking to the north, gives you 2 potential locations where I've recommended potentially a red curb. Again, this report goes through, like the prior report, the collisions, the volumes, and the sight distance review. On page 4 of the report, I indicate that over a 3-year period from 2018, 19, and 20, looking for accidents that would be correctable by the installation of an all-way stop. We're talking about right angles, left turn and right turn accidents. And I provided what I refer to as the collision diagram. The terminology has changed recently. At Caltrans, they're in the what we call the TIMS program, now called the crash diagram. But again, no accidents occurring there. Page 5 of your report gives you that visual overview, and right away it's a valuable tool because it summarizes from a visual point of view, are there accidents occurring at the intersection? And there are none. Liddell Street is shown with the arrow, got a little bit moved there, but down below you can see at the major at Florence there are accidents occurring. But with a intersection in question, Liddell Street at Habanera, none. The volume warrant, again, the same comment. There's not enough traffic volumes coming out of that side street or Habanera to meet the traffic volume warrant. Again, I proceeded to look at the site distance as with the other location. Page 6 of your report talks about some of the similar information as before. But the prima facie speed on for Habanera is 30 miles per hour, so it's even a little bit further back. So looking at that, it did not meet the, there's no accidents that would say that there's a sight distance problem at the present time, even though the pictures show you that vision is a issue. Still proceeded to do the sight triangle, and I can see the arrow got a little bit, the yellow line got a little bit moved, probably due to formatting, but where that red dot is on figure 7, that yellow line would be from the furthest dot to the back to the dot at the top, the white dot. And again, that yellow triangle or the yellow line delineates or shows you the sight distance triangle. If you're stopped at the stop sign looking to your left, going to pull out, I need so much sight distance to see. If I'm going in the southbound direction on Habanera, I need to be able to see if that car is leaves the stop sign, pulls out to make a right turn or a left turn. I have to react, put on the brakes, and come to a complete safe stop. So conclusion here was that the provision of red curb to reduce the visibility constraint in the northwest and southwest corners would be an enhancement in terms of safety. Habanera, higher speed. So you're coming down, pulled out. I was there. Again, using my Honda Accord there to pull out. We seem to have that local truck. The red truck likes to park on that corner spot, different time looking at it. That's his spot, I guess. Just surmising, perhaps, but each time I've been there. My conclusion or finding was, again, it did not meet the criteria for an all-way stop, and I recommended that the installation of 40 feet of red curb in the northwest corner and 20 feet in the southwest corner would be a better application of improving safety at this intersection. I like to interject just for food for thought for the commissioners that if you put in a stop sign that is not warranted, you have an accident, you have liability, and you can be unwarranted stop sign doesn't meet the warrant. You put it in, you can be sued for that. So in terms of actions. With that, I open up for questions now to the commissioners that you may have.
Okay. Right now it's 6. Yeah, I just took mine early because I had to do like one of those Zoom meetings. So that's why. So I'm still in the meeting, but when I come
Commissioner
back, then
Gavilanes, we can hear you. Sorry.
okay. Sorry about that.
Do you have any questions or comments from commissioners?
No questions on my end.
No questions from me.
No comments.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a quick comment. I actually live around this area, so I'm able to see how much of a problem it's become because cars park very close to the intersection, and adding the red curb would definitely help that, especially now with school starting back up. The traffic has gone up in that area because it leads towards the high school, so I believe it's good that we're putting this red curb right there.
I need a motion from the commission
I'll go ahead and motion to approve.
and the second.
I'll second.
Okay, Madam Secretary, can you please take roll call vote?
Chairperson Heredia,
Yes.
Vice Chair Velasco,
Yes.
Commissioner Barbosa,
Yes.
Commissioner Barrera,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gavilanes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And the next item here, traffic safety analysis. Ms. Chavez, will you please give the report?
Yes, good evening again, Commission. Before you is a request for feedback following a traffic safety analysis for Jabloneria Road. This was in response to requests received from residents regarding for the city to look at options to address reported speeding activity. This is the area of Jabloneria Road immediately off of Loveland Street. And ultimately, the traffic engineer's recommendation is for installation of speed feedback signs, and I will now defer to traffic engineer Barnes to provide the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Grisel. In figure 1 of the report that you have before you, we're given an overview as you can identify the general location of the request. On page 2 of the report, I proceed to give you some more visual pictures from street view and aerial. What it looks like looking north at Loveland Street, so you can have an overview. And also I want to measure the street width between the curb faces to see if it meets the 40 feet or less in the event that some point in time that speed bumps were to be requested. Continuing with the report, page 4 of the report, it talked about the existing conditions. Haven area is 2-lane residential, but it has a posted speed limit of 30 miles per hour, which is important to know. It's wide open, there's no restrictions. You drive down the street. It's pretty well, there's nothing to make you feel uncomfortable driving at that posted speed or greater than that. In order to evaluate this request, I requested permission from the director to take a speed profile and average daily traffic count of Haven Area Road mid-block of the requested location. The results came in and have it that Haven Area Road has an average daily traffic volume of 3,345 cars a day. That's recorded on July 28th of this year. I also, as mentioned, we took the speed profile to check out the claim of speeding as presented at the city council meeting by the resident. Uh, the results are summarized at the end of your report, page 15, but indicating here that for about 42.3% of the vehicles, both directions are traveling above the posted speed limit of 30. What that means is that if we were probably setting that speed limit today, it's probably closer to 35 as a posted speed limit as opposed to what is presently posted. So there is speeding occurring. I also presented different information in the report for your reference about the 50th percentile speed, the 85th percentile, which is used for establishing speed limits, and the pace, which we look at where the largest concentration of vehicles that are traveling. On page 4 of the report, I mentioned that I certified the existing speed survey last year. I was asked to review the citywide speed survey for the city. I reviewed it, and the fact that I was able to certify it to be extended. We can extend the speed survey. It has to be done every 5 years, 7 years, or 10 if there's been no improvements. By that, I mean there's no widenings, new intersection, that type thing. And so that speed survey was approved and extended and will expire in 2025. At that time, the survey for this Haven Area Road was indicated justifiable and a posted speed limit of 30 miles per hour at the time it was done. And I provided as background information. In terms of what the resident requested was a solar feedback sign, I provided an example of one on figure 5. It gives you an idea of what one looks like could be either a Telspar post, which is a square channel, or it could be a circular post. There's a solar panel, there's a speed limit sign, and below it is an electronic unit, and it tells you what speed the traffic is moving on that street. And after careful review, I concluded that the installation of 2 radar feedback signs would be beneficial on this street, basically at mid-block, one in the northeast direction and one in the southwest direction. I mentioned they would be installed on the square channel or Telspar post, and that city staff would provide the white speed limit signs because that's not included when you do the purchase of those particular units. The estimated cost for those 2 18-inch solar feedback signs is about $16,000 installed. That's like $8,000 a piece. And the director had reviewed this, and it would have to, those kind of monies would have to be approved at a future date or when their funding becomes available. So what could be done in the meantime, in the event that I'm going to present this to the commission, is since funding is not available, the commission, in the event that they approve the recommendation as an interim measure, because there are no signs out there, you could, as an interim measure, recommend that we put the black and white 30-mile-per-hour mid-block until such time as monies become available to install the electronic ones. With that in mind, I'll now open it up for questions from the commission.
Dennis, may I ask, why would it be, why is it currently 30 miles per hour when there's a school, the area in question is surrounded by a school, and why is it not 25?
It's 25 when children are present. I think
Okay.
there's a sign posted there. When the survey was done, when this was done, I didn't do this survey. It was done by someone else, but the results came in, indicated that the criteria, the 85th percentile, would be 30. And as like I mentioned, without knowing anything, when I took this, we put the hoses out there to count ADT as well as speeds. It came in that the 85th percentile, which is in the back of your report, they're driving 35. So if I were to go out there today and you ask me what would you post it, I probably would be posted, really, it meets the criteria for 35, but there's some other criteria that one can go through, and you could probably justify maybe if there's access to down zones back down to 30, but it's definitely not 25. You would not be able to justify 25 miles per hour other than when school is present.
And one more question, sorry.
Yes.
Will these signs be posted on the north side of Loveland or the south side of Loveland?
These
At
signs,
the intersection.
they would be posted mid-block on that, on Haven area between the Loveland and to the north. There would be mid-block of, you would post. When reviewing that segment of Haven area, there's no posting now. There's a lot of different rules for how often do you repeat the speed limit sign.
Okay.
To me, it should be repeated in this case when you're having people that are in violation that are speeding up. It's most likely that they're not aware what is the speed limit. You know, so the signs would be there to remind them this is what the posted speed limit is, what you're supposed to be driving at.
Okay.
And Dennis, following your comment about proceeding to install that mid-block speed limit sign, our staff will do that with your traffic engineering work order. So we'll do that regardless of the speed feedback signs being installed or not.
All right.
There is a need for that southbound direction.
Yes, that'd be advisable to do that. Yes, that would be good. Yes. Any other questions, perhaps?
I had one quick question. Since you mentioned the width of the street earlier for speed bumps, is it that the street needs to be under 40 feet or?
Right, the width of the street, per the current policy, has to be 40 feet or less than that. So it meets that criteria, yes.
Okay, so in the future, it might be possible if residents request and approve speed bumps.
That's right, I anticipate that could happen. That's why I wanted to measure the width of the street.
Thank you. Need a motion from the commission?
Okay, just to clarify, this motion would be to potentially have the feedback, the feedback, speed feedback installed whenever funds are available, and in turn we'll be adding those regular 30 miles per hour speed limits, correct?
That would be correct. My report doesn't talk about although the Director Grissel mentioned that it would be done. I didn't insert that into this recommendation about, you know, in the interim prior to the purchase or whenever they are able to purchase those signs, an interim measure which the commission could add to this report, say in the interim, they could approve the recommendation for the solar radar feedback sign, but as an additive, we also recommend that the signs be conventional speed limit signs be installed in the interim period.
Right. Then for the record, we will, if everyone's approved, I would like for that to be added to the request recommendation.
Okay, I think Ms. Chavez said either way the speed limit will go up regardless of the recommendations. Is that right?
Yeah, sorry about that. For the commission's education, just again, information, since the commission is not required to approve the placement of speed limit signs, why wasn't specifically stated there, but we should have mentioned that as an option. And I think it kind of mentioned that staff would be installing the speed limit signs, but just to share with the commission, you're not required to approve it, but you can certainly add it into the motion, yes, as a measure or action to be taken now. Thank you.
Got it. Thanks for clarification.
Okay, I need a motion from the commission
I'll go ahead and motion.
and a second.
Second motion.
Madam Secretary, can you take roll call, please?
Yes. Chairperson Heredia,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Velasco,
Yes.
Commissioner Barbosa,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Barrera,
Yes.
and Commissioner Gavilanes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do we have any comments from staff?
Yes, Commission, I wanted to share, if you get a chance to drive by the intersection of Foster Bridge Road and Suva Street, our staff started late last week installing a new median there in that neighborhood. It's a median for along the Suva Street portion, about 37 feet long by 12 feet wide, and it lines up to the stop sign as you're approaching before Foster Bridge Road. We'll provide pictures and information at the next meeting with pictures and a PowerPoint. It was being completed today and tomorrow. So I just wanted to share, if you're willing to, if you're able to go down there, you'll see it firsthand in person. And it was all done by our city staff in conjunction with drawings and specs and markings done by our city engineering firm, IE. That was all the comment I have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And any comments from commissioners?
Happy to see everybody.
No further comments.
No comments from me.
No comments.
Okay. I will now adjourn this meeting to the next scheduled meeting of October 5th, 2021. This meeting is now closed at 6:17 p.m.